everybody. This is We Read It. I am one of your hosts. My name is Laura.
And I'm the other host. My name is Maggie.
Whoa, nailed
Wow.
it. Name
That's our
alert.
names.
They got the
Yeah.
names down. Got the names down, Pat.
Shout out to our
Y'all,
parents for giving them to us, We love
yeah,
you
huge
guys.
shout out to the parents for giving us the names.
Not Laura and I, we don't share parents, but I am
No.
convinced that we met in our mother's womb. So just sit with it. Just think about it for a minute.
Yeah, for sure. And our incubation periods. Um
When they were growing the two funniest people alive in our
Yeah.
mother's womb, listen, people are getting born out of Kronos' head or whatever in
Yeah,
this. We're fine.
Athena's head going crazy. So whoever birthed us out
Athena's
of
head go crazy.
whatever, y'all caught us Percy Jackson and the Last Olympians with the final book in the main series, The Last Olympian. Which is kind of funny. That's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. The Last Olympian is the full title.
You know what? Rick Riordan was just having a time. He said full
Rick,
send.
I'm gonna say it. Rick Riordan put his full pussy into this finale. I had so much fun. He like the amount of callbacks that we're about to uncover is so impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, there's like a lot when you write about a series that you can lose the thread completely, but my man was keeping notes. He knew what
He
he was doing.
I would love to see his bulletin board that I'm sure he had, just being like, and here's the characters, here's what they did last. Because this is like, I think it is so hard to write a book, period, but to write a finale to a series. We've had some duds, I'll be honest. We've had some unsatisfying, like kind of felt like they maybe should have ended this book ago, or felt like it didn't really hit. This one hits, I'm gonna be honest. I loved the way that this
Yeah.
ended.
The whole series was just like through and through so
Yeah.
concise.
The
Crazy.
chef was kissing. The chef was kissing each and every time, I'll be honest.
Chef was kissing in that kitchen cooking
And
with
Maggie and I gotta say, our compliments to the chef Rick Riordan for the series.
yeah, was it a gas leak cuz the house is on fire. He
Yeah,
burnt it down.
are Maggie and I experiencing the mist right now because we had a blast.
We did. And speaking of having a blast, I guess we'll just get right into it. I'm in a riffing mood, so I'm excited
Yeah.
to talk about this
Yeah,
one.
no, Maggie, cue the timetable. Maggie finished this book maybe 10 minutes before we started recording, which I think is amazing. I finished my notes on this book maybe 5 minutes before we started recording. We are coming in fresh and hot and ready to talk about it. So
Mhm.
we left off the last book, The Battle of the Labyrinth, on Percy's birthday. And Nico was like, hey, my guy, let's talk about how we got to feed Kronos. And Percy's like, wait, let's have some cake first. It's a full year later, everybody. It is now a week before Percy's 16th birthday.
Yeah, so he is finally getting driving lessons from who's driving Miss Percy, but Rachel is helping him, thank you, teach, just stick shift, just not even stick shift, not yet, just manual. And we also learned they're going to go on a summer trip with her parents like the day after this. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
plans in place for Rachel and Percy.
What I love about this is Rachel's like, have you thought about leaving with us for vacation tomorrow? And Percy's like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, he has not given her a final answer. And Rachel's laying it on thick. She is a flirt. She's like, so like, have you ever like thought about like kissing a girl that's in this car with you right this very second? And Blackjack, the hero,
Yo,
getting
boss.
Percy out of this situation, lands on the hood of Paul's car that Percy is driving, and he's like, yo, boss, it's me, Blackjack the Pegasus.
He's like, we got to do a mission. It's mission time. Rachel and Percy do kiss. Rachel kisses Percy, I would say more so. And on the back,
Unromantic.
unromantic. And on the back of
Unromantic.
Blackjack, it's like kissing your sister. Beckendorf, one of the Hephaestus cabin people, is also leading the charge on this mission with Percy. They are headed to Princess Andromeda. They got this big idea that they're gonna blow it up while Kronos is inside of it, along with all
Yeah.
of these monsters that are on there. Beckendorf is gonna plant the bomb in the engine room, and Percy's just like fighting his way through. At one point, he's fighting this big Alaskan crab, like the one in Moana.
Yeah. Same one,
Tiny.
actually. Small
Same
world
one.
after all.
Cameo. They
Um,
booked him from Cameo.
Yeah, and this is like, okay, let's be honest, folks. This is page 12, and it's already an action movie because, like, they've split up. Beckendorf's in the detonator, hacking into the mainframe. Percy's on deck, fighting his way through. They're not going to get caught. They're going to jump into the ocean as the ship explodes. They have it all planned out. They've been planning this for a year, and Percy's on the deck distracting everybody, but he's running into Luke, aka Kronos, because as we remember, Kronos has inhabited Luke's body and they're fighting. And Kronos is like, "You little idiot. You thought I wouldn't catch on? I knew you guys were going to come." Beckendorf is captured. So Kronos has given him his whole evil speech of like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, look what we have here. My two little idiots that tried to blow up my ship."
Two little idiots. He's got them hostage. He does slice Percy on his arm at one point, and he's got like a little bit of poison in his scythe. So Percy's like, "Oh my goodness, my arm." Beckendorf is realizing that being held hostage, there's no other way than touching his watch and blowing up the whole ship. He communicates this non-verbally to Percy. Percy is like, "I gotta run." So it's slow motion. He just jumps over the boat, and he's like, "Surely Beckendorf will maybe be fine. Hopefully, fingers
Yeah,
crossed."
he's like, I hope Beckendorf jumps too, but Percy also realizes as he can live, with a crash into the ocean. Beckendorf can't. He is not Poseidon's son. And Percy ends up dreaming, he falls unconscious. He's dreaming of Mount Othryus, which is the foil to Mount Olympus, the Roman version of the Titans and the Olympians. You get it. And he also sees in this dream that Nico is telling Percy he is running out of time. Percy wakes up post explosion in Poseidon's palace, finally gets away with dad. That's nice.
Don't you love nights like that where you go out with the girls, you black out, you wake up and you're in bed and you're like, "Oh my goodness, how did I get here? Thank you."
Ah,
And it's usually one
amazing.
of
And
your
Tyson's
girls.
taking care of him. Ideal.
Tyson. Yeah, Tyson, one of his girls is taking care of him. Poseidon's palace, Oceanus, the old god, is waging war on the ocean. So they're in full blown war down here. There's no escaping. I mean, this is a
No.
worldwide war.
And Tyson does put it pretty quickly to Percy, like, because Percy's holding out hope. He's like, maybe Beckendorf's around here. Tyson's like, no, 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 he's donezo. So
Mhm.
Beckendorf has passed on, which is really sad because before they did this whole mission, Beckendorf was looking at a picture of his girlfriend Selena, and so like Percy's like sad. He's like, oh my god, Selena's gonna be so upset.
Yeah.
He's gonna go visit his father though. Poseidon, have you heard of him? And Poseidon's looking haggard. War is taking its toll on him. And awkwardly, Percy also has to meet his real wife, Aphrodite, and his real son, Triton. And Percy's like, hey, I'm one of the kids too. And he's not welcomed with open arms.
No, Trident is like, "Oh, you're finally showing up to help, Dad. Don't worry, I'm going to the front lines." And he's doing the whole pointing at his eyes, pointing at Percy sort of a thing. And Percy's like, "Dad, I can help. I'm here now." And Poseidon says, "You're going to be so much more use at camp. Don't stay around. I got this. Don't worry about it." And he's like, "Okay, Santa Claus." So,
Yeah, but
okay, so he
Poseidon.
does say Santa.
And like, but Percy's kind of beating himself up because this whole ship explosion thing was supposed to be like a big bonus and like defeating Kronos. And Poseidon's like,
Mm,
yeah, it didn't kill Kronos, but kind of helped a little bit when you think about it.
a little, just a tidge,
A little bit.
just a little sprinkle on top,
But he said,
but
"Why don't you get back to camp? Keep on fighting the front lines up there." So Percy
hashtag
gets sent
Boston
back
strong.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So he goes back, and Percy also has to learn his whole prophecy. Poseidon's like, "I think that it's time that Chiron tells you what it is."
I'm going to pause here, Maggie, because I really would argue that a week before someone's 16th birthday uh, is a little too late to hear the full prophecy. They've been preparing for this battle for a fucking year, and you're like just now like, oh wait, we haven't told you the full prophecy. We should do that.
Yeah, let's loop in who the person it's actually about. So instead of giving him a year to plan, we'll just
Give
give
him
him
wait.
5 days. Just give
We'll
him
give
5
him kind of a year to plan for what he thinks it is, and then we'll tell him what it
and
is.
then we'll actually pull a really fun prank. So it turns into like a little game show. They're gonna pull the rug out from
Yeah.
underneath.
It's kind of like a surprise date, and then you have to be like, but what am I supposed to like? What's the attire? And they're like, I can't tell you. And you're like, I don't know. Am I wearing a dress? Am I wearing like an athletic outfit?
This is the demigod version of Practical Jokers. So
Exactly.
exactly. He's headed to Camp Half Blood. Chiron is like, you know what? I think there's going to be a bigger threat than just the Princess Andromeda coming. So let's hold strong. And he believes that Typhon, the father of the monsters, is actually going to be the one that is laying it on thick.
Yeah, and Percy does note that there are less campers at the camp now, just due to the general know-how of this impending battle and the mini battles that have led up to it.
Mhm.
Annabeth, she's running up to Percy, and Percy's taking note. His heart is racing. He thinks she is fine, but he's not going to admit that. And
I love the
he's
inside of his brain to me is always being like, wow, she looks really pretty in
yeah,
that voice.
it's the somber version of him going, "Awooga!"
Yeah, and Annabeth, sadly, I mean, she's looking gorgeous, but she's not going to have good news because she's taken him to the attic to retrieve the prophecy from the oracle in a move that I love, which is just like in a necklace around her neck, and she
Yeah,
unclasp it and give it to Percy, and he's like, "It was there the whole time."
yeah, of course. That's such a boy move to be like, yeah, if you actually like looked around Percy, it was there the whole time. And I love that there's a lot of tension here. They're just being like, yep, so I guess we're just here to get the prophecy. We're not going to talk about the fact that we like each other.
Yeah, they're
Um,
not going to kiss in front of the
no,
spooky
they're not
mummy.
going to kiss right now. But they're going to read this prophecy aloud at their war council, which is where they're all talking about their prep for Kronos' battle. And Clarice, notably, who is the daughter of Ares, the god of war, she's claiming that her and all of the Ares kids are not partaking. They are out. They don't want to do it, which kind of crazy because that's like supposed to be their whole thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, they love war. They're obsessed with
That's
it.
the thing.
That's just another Tuesday for them. So Percy reads the message. It basically indicates a single choice will end his days. He's dying either way. And he
Yeah.
also suspects that there might be a spy in camp because Kronos knew he was coming. He was tipped off, and
And
yeah.
here's the thing I gotta say about this spy. The spy isn't a new plot point. We talked about the spy a couple books ago. And just like now, after reading the prophecy, they're basically like, and let's not forget there's still one of us as a spy here. Why have we not been weeding out who the spy is this whole time?
I don't
Like,
know.
what? I'm
He also
shocked.
knows now that the spy would have half of a scythe's pendant.
Yes.
So why weren't we maybe just like doing random checks?
Like, and we
I don't
also
know.
know there's like maybe like under 60 campers at this camp. Like the check isn't that like extraneous to find. It's not like there's thousands of us to look through.
That's true. Like I'm not on the side of just surveillance, but sometimes maybe just a little surveillance. If
I
we're
mean,
ratting us out to someone
here's
that's
the
going
thing.
to
I
just
think we're on the
destroy the
side of
world.
surveillance if it means like children are gonna live because there's a spy at the camp of a god of like absolute murder and destruction. But I digress.
Yeah, Typhon's going crazy on it too. He's sending tornadoes through the Midwest, massive thunderstorms across America. He's going to get to Olympus in 5 days. So Percy
And
is like, we got to go there. We got to warn the gods.
yeah, what's worse is Chiron drops it like, yeah, and all the gods are gonna go fight Typhon. And Percy's like, no, this is an awful idea. They're gonna leave Olympus wide open. And Chiron's basically like, yeah, they're gonna leave Olympus wide open.
And
So
listen, I've played Capture the Flag, and more recently, in my unemployed state, played League of Legends. You never keep the camp on the base needs to be guarded. You can't keep the base unguarded.
which which is insane how old these gods are, and they're not like, let's just keep like one of them there. They're like, nah, everybody needs to go fight Typhon. Every single one of us needs to be there. Percy that night's gonna have a dream of Rachel, who is really bummed about this vacation she has to go on without Percy. And she's throwing darts at a picture of Percy that she drew herself, which is so poetic of her.
Her dad walks in completely unfazed that she's doing this and is like, hey, you thinking about finishing school? Because I want you to go to finishing school. And she is just not about that. She's also doing a little fun thing, which is painting Luke when he was 9 years old. And Percy is like, how on earth does she know what he looked like at 9?
Well, at all, because she's never met Luke or run into him in any way, shape, or form. So Percy's like, don't love the sound of this, if I'm being honest. Next day, Percy and Annabeth are tag teaming
I
the
love this
cabin
scene.
inspections. I love this scene so much. They're just being a little awkward. There's a little tension. Percy, flat out, canon, realizes that she is beautiful. That is in the text, and I fucking love it.
And he once again misses the point completely because she is bringing up that Selena and Beckendorf just died. It makes you really realize how important the people in your life are. And he says, like your parents? And they get into a little bit of
And
a tiff about this
and
because he also brings up the dream about Rachel.
and she goes off. She's like, "You're a coward, Percy. If you miss her so much, go on fucking vacation with her." And Percy's like, "Ay, ay, ay, what did I do?"
And you think the thing about Annabeth that I love is that Rick could have dropped it right here. She keeps this grudge throughout the book. She brings up the vacation multiple times.
Yeah, it's hilarious. We also learned that Grover has been like gone and nobody knows where he is. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Later, they're going to burn Beckendorf's shroud as one of their, burial rituals at the camp. And Percy tries to talk to Selena. He does talk to Selena. Clarice's like, "Stop it." And Selena's like, "No, this will be nice." Um, and
Yeah,
he's like,
Clarice and Selena, there's a little bit of fan art about them too, which
"Yeah,
I thought it was pretty coded a little bit that it
yeah,
was
I can see
a little
that.
queer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And basically, in this, he's like kind of like, Beckendorf was looking at your picture, and maybe Clarice, you do want to fight in this war. So he's trying to do like a little bit of consoling, a little bit of persuading. It kind of works on the consoling front, not so much on the persuading front.
No, he's not good at networking.
Oh.
Percy would fail on LinkedIn. He wouldn't know what to do with a hiring manager if it was right in front of him.
No, but he'd probably be good at a LinkedIn post. He'd be like, when I was fighting that giant in the labyrinth, it really reminded me of how we can increase our pipeline numbers by.
Wait, actually, Percy would body LinkedIn posts. I also think he would be like Wint level Twitter. I think he'd have really funny tweets that would make
I
no
could see that
sense and be
100%.
so deranged.
Yeah.
There is one person who is animal that is very excited that Percy is back at camp. Mrs. O'Leary is running up to him, gives him a massive lick, just a bath of dog spit. And then she's running towards the woods, like, "Come on, Percy, I got something to show you." And it's just Nico. He's kind of hanging around. He's talking to Grover's girlfriend, Juniper. He's blushing because she's like, "Where
Yeah.
is Grover? I haven't heard from him in like 2 months."
And they're also talking to this really old satyr named Linnaeus. I think
Hmm.
that's right. And they're basically, yeah, again, talking about Grover, and Linnaeus is like, "I hate that dipshit. I don't know where he is." And it's like, "Linnaeus, calm the fuck down." But Nico does tell Percy he talked to Beckendorf's ghost and mentions that Beckendorf's waiting for someone, so he's going to stay in the afterlife for a little bit, which is really sweet because it's implied he's waiting for Selena.
Yeah.
And he warns Percy that he needs to get more power to beat Kronos. And he's like, "Remember that plan I told you about a year ago? Pretty good time to think about it again." We do not know what this plan means, but Percy's not jumping at the bait.
He's not. Nico's really trying. He's like, "Can you consider the deal?" And Percy is like, "I mean, what would we even need to do?" Nico says, "We just got to retrace Luke's steps. I know where his mom lives, Connecticut. We can go right now. Let's just go get some intel." So they use Mrs. O'Leary to shadow travel, which is basically something that you could do with underworld monsters. You portal between
Cool.
worlds. So cool.
Super cool.
Yeah. And they show up, and May, who is Luke's mom, is positively thrilled that her son is back in the form of two different boys because she is cuckoo. She's
Yeah.
cuckoo bananas.
Oh,
She's clocked into the cuckoo banana shift.
yeah. Luke's mom is unoffensively crazy. She is absolutely like insane, clinically insane. She's calling them both Luke. She's making cookies that are burnt. She keeps being like, "Eat these sandwiches. The sandwiches are rotting." And she just keeps babbling, babbling, babbling. And her eyes are glowing gold. And then it's off. Everything is off. But they also know that Luke did visit her sometime before he became Kronos. So they're like, okay, he's been here at some point recently before he was lost.
She mentions that he asked for her blessing to go to a river, and Nico immediately knows what that is. He's like, "We got all the information we needed." They leave, they go see Mrs. O'Leary. She's with this small girl who is just around a campfire who ends up being Hestia?
Hestia?
Hestia? Hestia.
I was saying it as Hestia. It. I should have asked Brian. Fuck, I'm
Goddess of
sorry,
the
Brian.
hearth. Brian,
Yes.
email us all our mistakes. So Heshta, goddess of the hearth. Percy is gonna make a sacrifice to her, and she's really pleased about that. She's like, "I will protect you when the time comes."
Yeah, because like Hestia's whole thing is like everybody kind of forgets about her. Nobody really cares about the goddess of the hearth because she's small, but she's consistent. She's there.
Yeah, she used to be on the council, but she stepped down, so Dionysus could be on the council. So now it's like 7 guy gods and 5 girl gods.
Yeah, yeah. And Hestia doesn't give everything away, but she definitely wants to help. She does, nudge that Mrs. Castellan saw just too much, which explains why the way that is the way she is. We're going to learn more about that later. And she basically says that she is the last Olympian, and she asks him to remember her so she won't fade away when he makes this final decision. So she clearly knows a lot about what is yet to come, despite Percy not knowing.
Hmm. After this, they head on over to Percy's mom's house. Mrs. O'Leary is going to take up the entire living room. Big dog
Hilarious.
hours. Wagging her
Um,
tail, ruining all the furniture. I
we get
love it.
a great aside here that Paul, the stepdad to Percy now, he is aware of the half-bloods, the demigods, the Olympians, and everything, and Paul thinks it's all so
Awesome.
fucking cool. He's like, this dog's awesome, that dog's huge, my stepkid's a god, that's awesome.
He is just thrilled. He gets one of those bumper stickers that's like, your kid's an honor student, my kid's a demigod.
Yeah, honk if your kid's a half-blood.
So Paul is like, listen, Sally, the outcome is either we lose the entire world, just give him your blessing. I think that we can trust your kid. He's clearly capable.
Yeah, yeah. So they fill them in on Nico's plan. They still don't tell the audience. And mom's like, it's dangerous, but you have my blessing if that's what you want to do. And they promise that Percy will give her a sign if he's alive at the very end of whatever is yet to come.
Mhm.
But now they have to go to the underworld.
There's an entrance in Central Park. It's actually the door of Orpheus, but they need music to open it. So Percy's
I
like,
I love this scene so much. And Nico's like, here it is, door to Orpheus, singing a tune, Percy. And Percy's like, no.
he's a little bit camera shy. He's not in his karaoke boots phase yet.
No.
So he calls on Grover through the empathy link. He's really trying, and then he finally brings up food, and Grover is fully awake. So he's running to them, and Grover is just relaying that he ran into this guy, and the guy was just so calming. His presence was amazing. So he slept for 2 hours, but he's back. He's
Yeah.
back.
But then, as Grover's telling the story, he learns that he was asleep for 2 fucking months instead of 2 hours. And the person who put him to sleep, that's Morpheus, the god of dreams. And it's implied that he was testing out how many people he can put asleep to put in a bigger plan. So something bad is yet to come. But we don't have time for that. Grover's going to play his little pan flute. He's going to get that door open for him. And he's like,
Playing a
you guys
Nirvana
go?
song.
Yeah. He's really expanding his repertoire. I'm so proud of him.
I know.
But Grover's like, you guys have fun in the underworld. I'm going to go rally the nature spirits for this war. So he's going to go off and rally the troops.
So Nico and Percy, they're headed down. Nico is suspiciously aloof down here. One of the Furies show up, Mrs. Dodds, who is actually Electo, and Nico is like, okay, Percy's here. Take me to Daddy. I want Daddy to tell me about my mom. Percy, listen, don't worry. Hades just wants to say hi before we do the whole river thing. And Percy's feeling so set up. He's like, I don't want to talk to Hades. Hades doesn't like me. Why are we going to talk to your dad?
Yeah. And Nico's like, no. Like, everything's going to be fine. Like, he just wanted to talk to you. And it's like, I didn't want to tell you because, like, you weren't going to go. It's a trick. Hades tricked Nico, and Nico by default tricked Percy. Because when they get to the palace, Nico's like, I want to phone my mom. And Hades is like, all I'm telling you is her name's Maria, and I'm the one who put you in the Lotus Hotel. Now, Percy, I'm going to make Nico the kid of the prophecy and put you in a dungeon until you die. So really bad to worse in a matter of seconds.
Percy's gonna wait out this little war in Hades' prison. So he goes to prison. Honestly, really short time. He's got a short sentence because Nico shows up and is like, my bad, fam. I feel so bad about that. I did not know that he was gonna react that way. It's like when you go to your friend's house in high school, not high school, elementary school, and the parent has put like the kid in timeout and you just have to hang out with the parent and you're like, what do I do? And then they're like, do you want
That happened to
snacks?
you?
Yeah. Did that not happen
Oh,
to you?
no.
Oh, well, sometimes kids were acting up. So you're just like you're like you're having to apologize on behalf of your parent. You're like, my bad, my parent's being kind of crazy right now.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Percy gets rescued by Nico, waking him up from a dream where he dreams of Rachel and then the destruction of St. Louis via Typhon. And Nico's like, "You really don't have any other choice than to trust me to get you out of here. I apologize for getting you into this mess." Mrs. O'Leary is going to help them escape too, and Nico books it to the river Styx, and he's like, "Well, Percy, I know you're still hesitant, but here it is, the river to jump into." And Achilles, the ghost of Achilles, is there. He has also done this, and he's like, maybe it's a bad idea to do this.
I love this time too because Achilles does bring up, God, there was just one guy who also just recently did this. Coincidence? What's this trend? What's this River Styx trend? And Percy is trying to finesse information out of Luke and is like, Achilles, that's crazy. Can you just like tell me what part of his body was dipped in? And Achilles is not entertaining it. So Nico explains to Percy as he's about to go into the river Styx that just focus on a part of your body that you think is really strong. No one's going to find it. And when you are in there, think of something that anchors your body to your soul so you can get pulled out. And when he's down there, he's seeing a lot of visions. And the person that he sees that ultimately pulls him out is Annabeth. And she says, I'm not done with you yet, Seaweed Brain. Or you're not getting away from me that easy, which I loved. I thought that was really, really cute.
So cute, but he doesn't have time to bask in how cute his imagination is being, because Hades and his team are there, and they're not happy that their prisoner escaped. And Percy goes sicko mode now with his newfound River Styx powers. He uses the River Styx to attack everybody and Hades, and manages to basically get free. Nico's about to come with him, and Nico is basically forced by Percy to stay and get more information. Percy's like, no, 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 we need you on like the back lines to get more info. I'm going back to camp.
Mm-hmm. So Percy is he's going to rally the campers, meet them at the Empire State Building to go to Mount Olympus. Annabeth keeps being like, hey, Percy, you look different.
Yeah,
Something
like, Percy,
about
what's
you.
changed about you?
You look amazing. You look awesome.
They're on their way to the elevator up to Olympus. Annabeth and Percy are catching up. We get a great mention here that Annabeth is saying that Hera from the last book, who basically cursed her,
Oh
keeps
my God.
sending her cows because she's still mad at her, which is so funny to me.
And Percy's
And
like, that doesn't sound that bad. And she goes, I keep stepping in cow shit. That's just what's happening. I keep doing that.
yeah, I keep doing that. Hestia is there to greet them at the top. Olympus is notably empty. All of the gods have already gone to fight Typhon, or majority of like the big ones have gone. And she shows Percy a vision in her fire of Talia and Luke meeting Annabeth for the first time. So a big theme of this book is giving Percy a lot of the backstory of Annabeth and Luke and Talia to really help him understand just the kind of everything about Luke that made him the way that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's when Talia and Luke obviously recruited Annabeth to fight with them, and they go to Luke's house. Hermes is there to apprehend them, like, you shouldn't have come home. And the vision turns into Hermes. Oh, actually, it's reality now. Hermes
Yeah.
now in present day. He shows up, and Hermes is just like always pissed off. He's not going to let them talk to Zeus. He says, gods are doing fine. Don't worry about it. You hold Manhattan without the help of the gods, by the way. And
Yeah.
why don't you like try Athena's plan 23? Annabeth is locked in. She knows exactly what that is.
Exactly. Yeah. So Hermes, who like we know used to be pretty nice, he's definitely a little more rigid now that his like favorite son is, a bad guy.
Yeah.
So he's kind of taking that out on everybody around him.
But he
Uh,
really chews out Annabeth because
oh
he
my God,
says
yeah.
something that she should have saved Luke when she had the chance. And he also drops in conversation that Percy has the mark of Achilles, which now he's like, well, I guess everyone knows. Everyone knows I went through
Everybody
puberty.
knows. Great. On their way out, Percy tries to, talk to Annabeth, being like, hey, like, I don't think that's fair of like Hermes. But it's clear to Percy very quickly that Annabeth is still worried about Luke and still kind of on this, like, she can fix him. And Percy automatically gets annoyed because he's like, I just want her to not like him like that.
Mhm.
And Annabeth pivots quickly and she's like, we can do plan 23 from my data list notes, but it's dangerous. And as they're about to head down, they look down into Manhattan, and it's different. Instead of being the bustly, noisy city below, everything is silent and everything is still. And that's when they realize that Morpheus has put the entirety of New York City to sleep.
Listen, city that never sleeps, I'll tell you, you can't find a 1 a.m. movie in Manhattan when you're drunk and you just want to watch a movie. This city
Yeah.
does sleep, and the city is sleeping in the
The
book.
city sleeps at 1 a.m. when the movies stop.
Yeah, the movies aren't playing at 1. You think that it's going to be up all night? You think you can watch a horror movie when you're drunk? You can't do it. So they are in Manhattan, the city that is asleep, and Percy is in charge. He's splitting up everyone to take care of the bridges. He splits up the cabins. They're going to go accordingly. And he's like, I'll take care of the river and the boats coming in. Don't worry. Who shows up? Talia, the hunters of Artemis. They're like, we'll cover the Lincoln Tunnel since the Ares cabin isn't here. And Annabeth does enact Plan 23, which is calling all of these statues, I think Stewart, it's like one of the oldest mayors of New York. I'm going to be honest, I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, so basically Plan 23 is from like Daedalus's workbook, and basically all of the statues in New York City are automatons that can be turned on and given an instruction of how to help in battle. And the nice thing is once you start turning them on, if they come across another statue, they'll turn on that statue and activate it. So basically it's a domino effect of these statue soldiers that they're about to get.
And you can't really
Um,
control them. They kind of just,
no.
they're chaotic neutral. They're going to do whatever they
Exactly.
want.
Exactly. Percy goes into the river. He finds the point where the rivers meet, so the Hudson and the East River, and finds the gods of each of them. They don't like each other. They're like basically like, my river, that's my river, that's my river. And he's asking them for help, and they're like, why the heck should we help you?
They're very New
And
York, hey, I'm walking here
yeah, yeah,
energy.
yeah. Give me a pizza. That's what New Yorkers say, right? And
Exactly.
and Percy remembers his sand dollar he got from his dad for his birthday last year, breaks it in half, and both of them are like, "Oh, you got a sand dollar for me? I'm so into help," which I thought was amazing.
The sand dollar just like makes their rivers cleaner, and they're thrilled
Yeah.
about this, which I love the eco-friendly East River and the Hudson River. Let's go. So they immediately wipe all the enemy boats away with like a wall of water, but it is short-lived because the Minotaur is leading this charge against the Williamsburg Bridge. So Blackjack swoops in. He goes, "Hey boss," takes Percy there, dives into battle like
Oh,
right away. But before
and
he does ask Annabeth for a good luck kiss before going in, which
And Annabeth says, "Come back alive, and we'll talk about it." Amazing. So they're talking to Michael, who is on the Williamsburg Bridge, and Michael's like, another camper. He's like, "We need to fall back. We don't have the forces." But Percy's like, "I'm sticks in it." I don't know. He needs a catchphrase for now that he has the power of the river Styx.
that's he's immortal. He's just like
He's immortal now.
fucking
Yeah.
ball.
So he's going to face the Minotaur that he already defeated in book one, and he's even stronger this time. He defeats him pretty quick, tosses him over the bridge, and then charges the rest of the army. Percy can like take on just numbers because of how strong he is now.
Earlier, after the river Styx, he literally wiped out all of Hades' army, and then at some point he gets his foot on Hades' chest, which is
Yeah.
just like he's cocky now.
He believes in himself. He's like, nobody can defeat me. I'm insane. Um
That's how I felt in my
basically.
20s.
Yeah, Percy's entering into his early 20s early. Percy regroups with Annabeth and Michael as they kind of defeat this first wave, but they see Kronos and a second wave off in the distance, and they're approaching fast. Ethan, the camper gone bad, is there as well. So they start fighting him, and Percy's going to prevent Ethan from stabbing Percy in his sweet spot that would kill him, which is on his lower back.
Yeah,
And Percy is mad.
Annabeth jumps in front of Percy, and Kronos kind of lights up because he's like, "Oh, I actually think I know exactly now what that was about." He's fighting Kronos. Everyone has basically retreated on their side now, on
Yeah.
Percy and the camp side. But Michael Yu, who's the front, he's up in the wires of the bridge. He's yelling at Percy to weaken the bridge, just stab the bridge with Riptide. So he does, and it crumbles, and Michael goes with it, which,
Yeah.
again, Percy's sad about because he lost another
Ugh.
friend.
So sad. The campers, now that like the this first battle is essentially done, we learned that Kronos is really only attacks at night. So now that it's basically daybreak, they're base camping at the Plaza Hotel, made famous from Eloise at the Plaza. No other reason.
Period.
Selena approaches Percy saying, "Hey, you gotta go see Annabeth." And he learns that like they've got a whole hospital lodging food system set up there. They're really making quick use of this place. And Annabeth's cut is very, very deep, a lot deeper than they expected, and the dagger was poisoned, so she's in beat up shape.
Will, a guy from Apollo's cabin, is applying nectar to the wound. He sends out Connor and Connor's brother's name, who they're two Hermes
Soul Brothers,
kids.
yeah.
They're the brothers. I was gonna say Connor Story, and I was like, no, that's Heated Rivalry. They go to get human supplies to heal the wound, and Selena is just like distraught this whole time. She feels like this entire thing is her fault. She's like, wait, I can make up for it. I'm gonna go back to camp. I'm gonna convince Clarice to join us. So she goes off to try.
And
Yeah.
Percy and Annabeth are left alone on this balcony at the Plaza Hotel that's now overrun by half bloods. And he keeps holding her hand while they talk, so that's
Mhm.
pretty cute.
He's like, "You
Um,
saved me. You must know where my Achilles spot is." And she's like, "I have no idea." Also, she's like pretty drunk because she's on ambrosia nectar. And he takes her hand and puts it on the lower part of his bag and is like, "This is where it is." Which, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I would trust anyone. I don't think I would tell anyone.
no,
I
no.
don't think you should tell me specifically because I have a loud mouth. And also, for my own safety, I should not tell anyone, but I know I would
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
myself.
no, it's like I would love to say I wouldn't tell anybody, but then I feel like there would be a night that Maggie and I drank 2 bottles of wine, and I'd be like, Maggie, I gotta tell you where it is. I
I'm like,
just
it's
think you
behind
should
my
know.
ear.
Yeah. I'm like, you're gonna figure it out eventually, right? And it's like, no, I wasn't gonna figure it out eventually.
It's my
Annabeth was,
butthole.
it's my butt. I would love if Percy picked his butthole. It's
Oh
like,
my
I'm
god.
sorry, how many people are gonna stab your butthole in battle?
That's what
That's
I'm
not
saying.
the go-to spot.
How are they going to get to like your taint down there? They're not going to.
You're
I
not.
really don't think they will.
It's my taint. That's so funny. Annabeth, Annabeth is pleasantly surprised to find out it is not his asshole or his taint.
Phew. Wipes the sweat off her brow.
He's like, now I can tell you why Hermes is really mad at me.
So she
But
explains that Luke came to see her in San Francisco last year under this wave of truce, and he was basically asking if she would run away with him because Kronos was going to take over the world and take over his body, but she still didn't trust him, which good
no,
instinct, I would say.
very good instinct. Grover shows up and he's like, the nature spirits, we're doing what we can. And they're like, thumbs up, Grover, that's all we ask. And Talia also enters, warning that Kronos and army are mobilizing again and they'll attack again as the night falls. But then they take a moment to be like, and there's still a spy amongst us.
Lest I remind
Lest
you.
we forget the spy amongst one of us. And it's like, really, we made it all the way to battle. We're like, oh, right, there's a spy still here.
Oh, I forgot. I mean, you know, it slipped my mind. Talia has good news though, which is that apparently it takes Kronos some time to regenerate after each fight because he's still getting used to his human body. So they weakened him. He's usually going to come out at night, is the
Yes,
idea.
the theme.
Yeah,
Percy's
exactly.
gonna sleep for a little bit, get some shut eye before round 2, and he first dreams of Nico. Basically, Nico is learning that he is forbidden to see the spirit of his mom, but Percy's dream transitions into a flashback instead of Maria, Nico's mother, and Bianca's mother, and she's younger with Hades, and they're having a big conversation about what to do with the kids. Hades is really, really worried about the kids getting in danger, Zeus trying to kill the kids, the other gods trying to kill the kids, and they're going back and forth, and Hades wants to bring them to the underworld, and Maria's like, no, I want them to be normal kids, and they cannot agree on what to do with their two small children.
So Maria is like, I'm gonna step away for a minute. I gotta go grab something upstairs. They're in this hotel, and Zeus hates Hades, and Hades is like, wait a minute. And as she is going away, Zeus does in fact blow up the hotel, but Maria is too far away from Hades, so he can only shield the kids. So he puts them in the Lotus Casino because now he's like, okay, confirmed. Zeus fucking hates me and wants my kids to die.
Yeah, it's very, very sad because in this scene you can really tell how much Hades loves Maria and loves their little family,
Yeah, because
despite
he's
the
trying to
fact
bring
that
them
he's
to like the
married.
underworld too, and be like, I can protect
Yeah,
you there.
he just wanted to keep all of them safe. The dream shifts again, and it's Rachel on vacation telling her dad they gotta leave the beach. They gotta get her to Percy. Her dad's nice. He's like, okay, but this is weird, but I guess we'll leave this nice fucking vacation we're on to go talk to this guy that doesn't want to kiss you that much.
Yeah, exactly. She's obsessed with it. She's like, I'm feeling like there's not good stuff in New York happening right now.
Yeah.
There is in this dream sequence, I mean, he's having so many dreams. The
Yeah.
Oracle of Delphi shows up,
Oh yeah.
and Hades is mad that the prophecy brought this upon him about Maria dying. And she's like, I tried to warn you. And since she is mortal, Hades is like, oh, you know what? If you're going to take that tone with me, actually, I'm going to curse you. So he says the Oracle will never have another mortal host. So she's going to die, and the spirit's going to be locked in her forever, which is why the Oracle in the attic is a mummy.
Yeah.
She's just a
Terrifying.
mummy.
Talia wakes Percy up from all of his horrible, horrible dreams and is like, hey, a message from Kronos is approaching. You gotta go meet his bidders in the park. So Percy's gonna go meet Prometheus, Ethan, and an Impusa from the last book to the park. And Prometheus is being a huge dick. He's like, man, you know there's no way you can win. We can just call a truce right now. Come on. Kronos can get Olympus. And Percy, I think if you know the full story, you'll just agree with Kronos. They're still trying to get him on their side.
He is. He's like, we're not all that bad. The gods punish us for no reason. Remember Calypso, beautiful Calypso, who was just the son of Atlas? You know what? Let me show you. And touches Percy's forehead, shows a flashback of Hermes visiting May, Luke, Annabeth, and Talia. Hermes knows what's going to happen to Luke, but he can't save him. He can't stand in the way of prophecy. And then we come back to modern time, and Prometheus is like, isn't that kind of fucked? Wouldn't you save your kid? Here, how about this? I'm going to give you a gift.
Yeah, Grover and like in the back of Percy's head is like, do not trust him. He's clearly trying to play with you and get inside your head and make you believe something that isn't true. Prometheus gives him Pandora's jar, and he's like, lest we forget this trap that Zeus once set. And if you open it up, we will know that you surrender by giving up the last spirit that is in here, hope.
Yeah, it's
And it's like,
Opus, the spirit of hope.
yeah. So,
So,
geez, now Percy has to carry around this fancy jar.
I mean, how's it even gonna fit in his pocket during war?
I'd be afraid it's gonna be like it's gonna break, and I'd be like, well, no, I didn't mean to open it. It just broke.
Yeah, what if you trip and then it's a Charlie
It tips
Kaufman
over.
bit?
Like a thing of salt. Like it just tips over and salt falls out.
What if Percy slips on a banana peel and then it just falls
Yeah,
apart? Oh,
exactly.
God.
Morpheus, I think he put a bunch of banana peels out when he was putting everybody to sleep.
Exactly. Scary times to be alive. Talia sidebars with Percy after and is like, Prometheus just is showing you what you want. I need you to remember Luke is gone now. Don't have empathy for him. We gotta also get that lesson to Annabeth because I don't think she will kill him at the time. So let's just stick together. Remember Luke
Yeah.
Zonin. We gotta
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
Luke.
Talia's like, remember, Luke made his own choice. He was not like, he wasn't pushed into this like he was, but he still made the choice to do so.
Mhm.
Percy's gonna take a little nap again after this whole thing, and he dreams of the war that is still going on in the ocean. And he also gets another dream that is a vision to the Titans who are camping outside of Medusa's shop from book one. And he sees Kronos talking to Ethan and sees a really important moment where Kronos wavers, and it's clear that Luke is fighting to get control back of his body.
He is. Kronos squashes it pretty fast, though. He's asking Ethan, he's like, your memory's got to be pretty good. Remember that moment in battle where Percy faltered? where's his weak spot? Do you remember? And Ethan, for the life of him, can't remember. I don't know if he's being evasive or if he actually doesn't know, but
Yeah.
he doesn't know. The dream shifts again, and it's May in full bloom, normal mode. She's got on a nice outfit. She's not, locked into just crazy, crazy
No,
cuckoo
she's
status.
absolutely normal. She's got baby Luke with her, and she is at the camp, which Percy thinks is strange. And
Mhm.
she's talking to Hermes, who is like, "You don't have to do this." And she's like, "No, no, no, I insist. I think I should be the next Oracle."
Yeah, because the
And
90s in this universe, job economy was bad. She's got to go door to door. She goes, I'm here to apply for the Oracle position. I got my
yeah,
resume. I've been hearing voices, and I think I'm qualified.
exactly.
I think I'm
So
ready.
she is going to go upstairs, but she does not know about the curse. Neither does Hermes, neither does Chiron. And when she goes upstairs, there's a giant big green light and the sound of May Castellan screaming, and she essentially is driven insane.
Yeah, she saw shattered glimpses of Luke's future, so she's just destined to be worried about it, I guess, for the rest of
Yeah,
her life. The next day, the big battle begins, and they're doing pretty well until Hyperion, the Titan god of the sun, shows up, and Percy, brave as can be, says, Don't worry, I'm going to take him on myself. He diminishes Hyperion's light with water. He somehow manages to make a hurricane that's really
crazy.
powerful, and he
Yeah,
pushes him over. And Grover starts playing a tune and straps down his feet and basically mummifies him in this giant tree, which is
insane.
crazy.
As the battle rages, the Titan army starts to retreat, and everybody knows this means something big's about to happen. Kronos unleashes a giant sow, which is a giant pink pig that nobody has ever beaten. So he's gonna do like a full rundown and just try to demolish it. And
Yeah, he like
per
lassos him and ends up flying
yeah,
on him, and then he falls out of the sky.
yeah, and Blackjack's like, "Yo, boss!" He's there to catch Percy as they chase the pig. Percy thinks twice about this. He's like, "No person has ever beaten the sow, but what if I awaken the Hermes statue?" So he activates the statue, whispers in its ear, "Fight the pig," and is able to also wake up these lion statues. And the Hermes, tag teamed by two lion statues, just destroy this giant pig. And it's like, work smarter, not harder, kids, you know?
Work smarter, not harder. Exactly. This is what Ottomans can do for you. We aren't
Yes.
pro AI though, we're anti AI.
No.
There was a sidebar here that I did write down. I texted Laura about this. Apparently, it's canon that Blackjack is trans because Rick Riordan changed the pronouns in the book without realizing it. And once he realized, he was like, oh, yay, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, like, because like in book two, like Blackjack's apparently pronouns are she, her, but then in book like four, it's like he's brought back and it's a he, him, and so the fans were like, "Blackjack is trans," and Rick Gordon goes, "Sure, sounds great to me."
J.K. Rowling could never. I know they keep
No,
calling him
no,
trans,
she would
right, John?
never.
Mm-mm.
No, she would burn all of her books before admitting that.
No, seriously. The fight wears on, and people are getting worn down. Kronos flying in, watching, proud, taking it all in. He's just watching everything. When a ton of Chiron centaurs show up, and they are just like thrilled. They love war. They're like party.
Yeah, they're blasting horns, being like, "It's party war!" And Kronos's army begins to retreat as these, centaurs are laying it down. As the day comes, the second battle has fully ended. They end up regrouping with Chiron after, and get the tidbit that the gods are really not doing great during their battle with Typhon. Percy and Annabeth get alone, and he tells her about the visions he's having of Luke and says that Luke might be fighting for control. Even though he knows this might give her some hope, he does tell her that.
And admitting this and being the bigger person, knowing that Annabeth might be in love with Luke, sends him into full psychosis mode. He starts disassociating and just ends up in a new place. It's like this realm of consciousness that Dionysus has going on that's a bar because Dionysus has just been like trampled by one of the Titans and he's just kind of existing in limbo. And he says that if Olympus falls, all of Western civilization will fall. The gods, they don't want to admit it because they're proud, obviously, but they need the
Yeah.
heroes more than they care to admit. And also, Kronos has 1 day before he melts
Yeah.
Luke's form and takes on his real form. So
Yeah.
now's the time.
This scene's hilarious because Mr. D's also playing Pac-Man the entire time. He's just like laying down the truth with Percy of how bad the scenario really is. And then he zaps Percy back into his real life scenario. Percy
Nonchalant
realizes he was
thing.
gone for maybe a second and he's just back with Annabeth. um, Percy then, as he finishes up his talk with her, sees in Paul's car, and Paul and his mom are asleep inside. And this really causes Percy to finally break down. He's freaking out. He sees Pandora's jar in the back seat. He's panicking that his like parents are going to wake up and they're going to be in some sort of danger and not be able to stop the car or get in a crash. So he finally has this moment of weakness where he's really, losing it.
Yeah, he's like, maybe all hope is lost. Maybe I should open the box. And things go from bad to worse because a helicopter shows up at this moment. Behold, it's Rachel. But the pilot is not immune to the mist or these monsters. So the minute that it enters Manhattan, Morpheus's dream state takes hold and the pilot he falls asleep. It starts plummeting. So Percy hops on the back of new horse enters. His name is Guido. Amazing. The horse though breaks his wing trying to help, and somehow Annabeth also has a horse. She hops off, gets in the helicopter, safely lands it because there's truly nothing she can't do. And Percy's like pissed at this point with Rachel, but she's like, I'm sorry, I had to come. I keep having visions.
And also hilarious that like Annabeth like saves Rachel and is also just like not happy to see her at all. She's like, God, what the fuck are you doing
She
here?
just gracefully lands the plane and then says you're welcome and like walks away.
Yeah, yeesh. Set your boundaries, Annabeth. And Rachel tries to start warning Percy of these visions that she's having, and she says a trick will end in death. Doesn't really know what it means, but she had to tell him that. And a second message that Percy, you are not the hero. Again, we don't know what it means, but that's like a thing that's been burning inside of her.
Since Percy has just seen May go crazy in this vision, he's like, hey, Chiron, can you come over here? Can you just, like, maybe talk to her about this? Because I don't want whatever happened then to happen to Rachel. And Percy does take a quick break to rest. He has a dream that Nico is trying to convince Hades to join the fight. Hades is like, though, the gods have never respected me. They outcast you. There's no reason to help. Then
No.
his dream changes again, and we're, like, at the United Nations. Kronos rallying his troops. Ethan is like, you need to recharge. You need to gain energy. You're not in your full form yet. You're still human. But he's like, I have a plan. Don't even worry. We're going to keep putting pressure on. Let's send out the Draken, which is like this massive dragon serpent thing that
Yeah.
is described as 3 buildings tall, basically.
Yeah. So he's going to surprise attack the campers. But of course, Percy, who has now dreamed this, has awoken up and is like, guys, we got to mobilize.
Mhm.
And Rachel, I don't know if this is helpful or not. She's like, you may be mobilizing, but the Draken can only be killed by a child of Ares. And Percy's like, great. None of them are here, so what are we supposed to do with that? And Percy and Annabeth are just going to prepare to fight it because, what else are they going to do? And Percy notes as they're getting ready for this battle that he like really wants to talk to Annabeth about like there's nothing really between me and Rachel, but he can't because like they're going into battle.
I mean, there truly is no time to talk about their love life.
No.
He gets the upper hand pretty fast. He pokes out one of the Draken's eye, and it's not going well. But the Ares cabin does show up. They show up in chariots. They are led by Clarice, and it's awesome. I mean, only one dies. Acid does get rained on Clarice though, and Percy's really stressed out because her body will just like disintegrate and bubble and
Yeah.
boil and die.
So
So he
Clarissa's fallen, but we learn as we're approaching this fallen body, the real Clarice is behind them, and she's basically like, "What the hell is going on?" And real Clarice goes and kills the Draken, but it doesn't explain who's in Clarice's armor. And we quickly see that it is Selena who disguised herself as Clarice because it was the only way to get the Ares kids to fight, and she dies.
she
And
felt
she was the
guilty.
spy. She reveals as she was dying.
Clarice is mad she died. She said, I don't give a fuck if she's the spy. She charged the Draken very boldly. She is just like amazing. We are going to honor her as a hero. And Clarice takes all of this energy. She gets the blessing of Ares, so she is like red and on fire, and she just goes fucking ape shit on this dragon and kills it. And not
Oh,
only kills it, but like ties it to her like her car and just drags it around and keeps being like, "Are you not entertained? It's
yeah,
crazy."
yeah. The beast in Clarice has awoken.
Mhm.
After this, the campers are talking about how they have to protect the elevator. That's the goal here. Percy asks Mrs. O'Leary for a favor, and she's going to disappear real quick. We don't know what the favor is. We also learned that Linnaeus, that satyr that we got introduced into in this book, he's passed away. Very sad in the throes of war. But
Mhm.
they're all going to go to Olympus to bury him because that's part of Grover, and they're going to kind of try to regroup and think of what to do next.
So up on Mount Olympus, the wounded are being treated. Rachel's up there too, actually, and Percy is like, "Who the fuck invited you? You are everywhere right now.
Right, like Percy's kind of like, wait a minute, you are really annoying.
You're just everywhere." And Lady Heshta is like, "Don't worry, she's my plus one. Actually, Percy, if you want to be here for this, you can be, but I mean, you're not really that necessary." And he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm necessary. I should be involved in everything." And Heshta's like, "No, this is kind of Rachel's moment. Like, her moment's coming. You know your moment." And Percy's like, "What moment? What? How is Rachel important?"
Yeah, like Percy doesn't know what's going on, but he does know to give the gods offerings. So he gives Hestia the jar of Pandora as a gift, and she thanks him for it. And Percy's going to do something that is very bad to do as a last resort. He is going
Taboo.
to sit in Poseidon's throne and ask for help.
He needs to have Grover and Annabeth boost him up. So I imagine he's pulling himself over this big fishing boat seat and his feet are like flapping in the wind. And
Yeah.
he gets up there and he's sitting there and he's like, "I feel like a baby." It's like,
Yeah, literally, he's a baby in a high chair. After he puts his little pinky promise in, saying please, 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 please. Talia says it is time to go back down to the city. So
yeah.
as they get down there, Chiron is facing Kronos. A little daddy son moment, but Kronos very quickly launches Chiron into a wall that collapses around him. So it's not looking good for Chiron.
Kronos is about to advance, and Percy gets through to Luke for a moment. He hits Kronos where he's least expecting, and he's like, "Oh, perfect. Okay, this is great. I got him where I want him." He draws his sword to run to him. Oh wait, no, this is Chiron. My bad. Annabeth is the one that actually gets through to
Yes.
Luke. She's distraught, and he like falters in this moment, and she plunges her knife into his collarbone, but it bounces back because he's immortal. That's not where
Yeah.
his little spot is.
And
Nico comes in on Mrs. O'Leary too, and guess what? Hades is in battle. It's a
yeah,
father son book right now.
yeah. So Percy's favor was to have Mrs. O'Leary get Nico, and Nico was able to convince Hades to come to the battle. Nico wakes the dead to take on the Titan army in a sick move by him. Kronos is ending up blocking their advances, but as this is happening, all of New York City is starting to wake up and absolute chaos is about to begin. Uh, but before everything gets too crazy, Mrs. O'Leary is going to go dig up Chiron, who is still alive.
You were talking at one point, and I was like, God, I wish they had us alive on the sidelines for this because I really think we'd be amazing commentators
Oh,
for
we'd
this
be like,
fight
and
going on right
Nico's
now.
raising the dead. That was unexpected, but boy, is it working.
So Paul and Sally, Percy's parents, they're awake. They're joining the battle. They're doing great, actually, holding their own. They're like, "Percy, don't worry about us because the
Yeah.
connection between Olympus and America, it's failing." So
Yes.
Percy, Annabeth, Grover, and Talia, they follow the path to the Palace of Gods where destruction is everywhere. Very, very funny moment. Hera's still pissed, but the cows haven't been enough. Now a statue is toppling over, about to crush Annabeth, and Talia pushes her out of the way and it crushes her legs. So Talia is out of the game now.
Yeah. Poor Talia. Percy, Annabeth, and Grover are sprinting towards the palace on Olympus, but Kronos is already in the throne room. He advanced very, very quick, but the fight keeps going. Grover is able to play music on his pan flute that's like making like grass and vines grow out of the ground to like stick people into place, which is really cool. And Percy decides to use his charisma to try to get through to Ethan, being like, maybe you could just help us and not be on Kronos' side. Does that sound chill?
And I mean, it works. Ethan does turn on
Yeah.
Kronos in this moment because Percy uses a little thing that millennials love called nostalgia and is like, remember when you were a kid? And Ethan was like, yeah, I liked my childhood.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
turns
Percy's
on
like, remember when
Kronos.
you weren't evil and everything was a lot easier? And Ethan's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So treason, Kronos yells out treason and defeats him. And not only does he get stabbed by like a shard of his sword, Kronos opens the ground and he just falls through.
Falls to the floor
Sweeney
in
Todd
pain.
style.
So it's now PVK, Percy versus Kronos in the ring. Percy can see the Manhattan chaos in the hearth. So he is able to see that Poseidon is emerging from the river to enter the battle as Typhon has arrived in New York City and all of the gods are gathering to continue to fight Typhon.
Yeah, this was
And
Percy's little wish because Poseidon was like, I can't leave my palace. The gods don't even like me. And he's like, but Mount Olympus is going to be gone. And then you're all fucked. And Poseidon was like, you're right.
exactly. So Percy turns to Kronos and is like pointing at the hearth, being like, it's done, my guy. And Annabeth is also at his side and she is pleading to Luke to kind of come through to them.
Annabeth is like, please, Luke, this isn't the fate that your mom saw. Like, it's your duty to your family. You need to be back here. And he strikes Annabeth across the face in, I imagine, like the hilt of his sword. So she's
Yeah.
bleeding. And Luke comes to noticing this because she's begging him, please don't. And he's really concerned. And Percy is like, enough of this little love triangle. Steps between the two. And Luke is like, this is the last time you can get to me before he leaves my body and takes his form. Kronos can't get his sword. It's like scuttling across the room. And Annabeth realizes in this moment, she's like, oh my God, the cursed blade part of the prophecy is that blade. And Percy is like, oh my God, when they kept saying I wasn't the hero, Luke is the one that has to fulfill the prophecy.
Yeah. So Percy in that moment gives the knife that he's about to use on Luke slash Kronos to Luke, and Luke stabs himself in the wrist, which is where his spot is. There's a giant flash of light, and Luke is on the ground as himself dying because Kronos has been evaporated from this form.
And this is a really pivotal moment. The book has been building up to this the entire time because
Yeah.
as Luke is dying, he asks Annabeth, did you love me? She looks at Percy for a moment, takes him in, and is basically like, you were like a brother to me, Luke, but I didn't love you.
Could
And then
you
he
imagine?
Luke's gonna reject you and he's dying.
Imagine the whole time you're like, this girl's obsessed with me. She's so in love with me, and now that I'm dying, and I'm gonna get those three little words. And she goes, "Yeah, like a brother." That's brutal.
Like
That
a brother is
sucks, Luke.
3
That
different words,
sucks.
not I love you. I always kind of imagined him and Talia is like the pairing
Yeah,
off,
I
but
kind of imagine them as a couple too. So I also kind of picture this as a like a Percy definitely like in his head building it up that Annabeth like loved Luke that way. Romantically, but in Annabeth's head, it was always like a brother, and she really cared about him that way, which I think is a fun, just like touch of narration. But he dies. He dies as a brother. He dies like he lived a brother.
a brother. And the gods storm in, they're like, what are you doing here? And Percy is like, we need a shroud for Hermes' son. We're gonna honor Luke in the end.
Yeah.
So the three fates, they take Luke's body away to the underworld. Apollo heals Annabeth before the God Council convenes, and it's time for some promises to go around. The gods are like, I'm thrilled. We're not dead. We're doing
Yeah.
great.
And before this council happens, Zeus is going to light up the Empire State Building blue as a signal to Percy's mom that he is alive, fulfilling that little anecdote from earlier. More aftermath. We learned that Rachel has just like gone. She's just disappeared. like, which
She's
is
just
like,
moving
okay,
at the speed of light. She's
literally.
booked and busy.
I know Percy says he has ADHD, but I've never experienced Percy be like Rachel right now. Percy's going to comfort Grover about the lost spirits that helped fight their way to victory.
Mhm.
Tyson comes, Poseidon comes, he gives Percy a hug. This council convenes, and it's time to give out awards for the battle, I guess.
Accolades, rewards time. What do they call
Woo!
it? Oh, superlatives. So
Yeah,
for Talia,
the
she
class
and the
clown of the battle.
class clown of the battle, most spirit, best personality. For Talia, she and the hunters will achieve Elysium. Oh my god, oohs,
Dude.
ahs. For
Uh,
Tyson, he's gonna be a general of Olympus armies, and he's gonna get a new stick.
yeah, it's so funny. They ask him what weapon he wants. He's like, stick. And they're like, okay, he gets a stick. Grover is going to become a member of the Cloven Elders. Suck it, Cloven
And he's so
Elders.
excited he passes out.
Yeah, honestly, I love that about Grover. He's so sensitive. Annabeth is given the task to help rebuild Olympus after this destruction. So she gets something that she's always wanted. And now we're down to Percy, who's going to get the biggest gift of all. And the gods assume that he wants to be made a god too. So they're like, don't worry, kid. We'll make you a god. And Percy's like, what? Wait.
He looks at Annabeth and he's like, you know what? No. And he says something that really sticks with me, which is, I don't want to peak as a sophomore in high school. Which, I mean,
Which,
I
like,
get it, but also physically, I was in my best. I was in my best, you know? So,
really? I don't think I was physically my best as a sophomore in high school.
really, I was training. Well, I was in every sport. So
Oh,
that's,
yeah. I mean, that's fair. No, I was really athletic in high school, but I think I got more athletic as an adult. But either way,
yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Hey, we get it. We relate. Physically, I'd like to be in that form, but I don't think mentally I should ever be a 16-year-old. I think that
Yeah,
being a
yeah.
16, no, I think that being a 19-year-old girl should be covered under health insurance and should extend into 29
For
because
sure.
you're still a 19-year-old girl.
Percy pivots quick. He's going to decline the initial offering of being made a god, ask to remain mortal, still with his like Achilles curse that he has, but he asks that all demigods be recognized, meaning that every single god on Olympus, all of the thrones, and all of the minor gods recognize their children, and they all get cabins at camp, and no child goes unclaimed. And the gods are like, every child? And they're like, yeah, every child. And they're like, oh, gee.
He goes, listen, since I didn't take your big one, I'm gonna have about a list of demands of about 13 small wishes, and you're gonna do all of them. And
Yeah.
they don't really like that, which is so funny, but they do agree to do it. On the way out, Percy stops by. He chats with Hermes, and Hermes relays that Kronos, he didn't die. He just kind of evaporated. He disappeared. Hopefully, he doesn't come back. The Titans are in hiding, and Hermes is just like so moody because he just lost his favorite son, is how I read it. And
Yeah.
Percy reassures him that don't worry, Luke loved you. He doesn't think you gave him up.
And
Um,
Hermes hilariously is like, thanks, that was really nice. Also, I have 3 kids that I haven't claimed. Given your new decree, would you go find them and bring them to camp?
Listen, Hermes is a party god, okay? He is a trickster, he is a messenger. 2 of those kids are in Wisconsin, and I was like, Hermes would be the type that would love a Midwestern chick. I
Uh,
absolutely, I can see that.
Absolutely. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Athena does talk to Percy before he leaves, and she says she was wrong about him, which is nice because, as we know, Athena hated Percy for a long while. But now that Annabeth and Percy are able to return to Earth, they go and reconvene with Percy's mom and Paul. And Nico says Rachel's already on her way to camp, and Percy's like, okay, what the heck?
Yeah, Percy's like, how's she on her way to camp? And Nico's like, she took one of your Pegasus. And
And
Percy's like,
Percy's
I
like,
didn't give her
how?
permission. So Nico, Annabeth, and Percy, they call Hippocampi on the East River. They're going to take them to camp. Rachel is in the middle of taking over the Oracle Spirit of Delphi. I imagine there is a dome of just protection around her. Apollo is hovering overhead, like, not yet. Ceremony's going on. And Percy is like, let me in. She's going to die. She's going to
Yeah,
die.
like Percy's freaking out. Chiron's like, no, Percy. I've invited her. There's no more curse on the Oracle. So Apollo is very easily able to transfer the gift to Rachel, and she becomes the new Oracle trapped in a 16-year-old's body. And her first act is she's going to give the next great prophecy. We don't know
Right
when
out
it's
the
going to
gate.
happen.
Right out the
Right out the
gate.
gate.
She's saying something about the doors of death and 7 demigods are gonna fall, and everyone's like, "That's
Evan?
not good.
That's bad.
That's not good."
Um, no, so very, very bad. But she gets
But
to come to
Annabeth is
camp now because she's the Oracle.
and don't worry about that. You're like, "Oh no, Rachel's gonna be the Oracle. Annabeth's gonna be so mad she's at camp." Annabeth thrilled because when you're the Oracle, you can't marry or date. So Annabeth
Yeah.
is like celebrating this moment. She's like, "I can be
Annabeth,
friends with Rachel. That's fine. I've always liked her."
but it's so funny. In this aftermath at night, Annabeth is going to wish Percy a happy birthday because he's now officially 16. And Percy, trying to be a romantic guy, is gonna try to be like, he's basically trying to tell her like she's the reason he wanted to stay mortal, but Annabeth is giving him shit for it, and it's so funny.
He is like explaining that when he was dipped in the river Styx and promised immortality, that something had to anchor him to life. And also, when they offered immortality on the mountain, he was also thinking about how the thing that anchored him to life. And Annabeth is like, "You are really just circling the drain right now, aren't you? I know what you're trying to say." And she
Yeah,
goes in and kisses him. And all the campers are watching too. And they pick them up and are like, finally. And they just throw them in the river, which is so fun.
it's so fun. And then they're gonna kiss underwater because they can.
Mhm.
Uh, the rest of camp is going to fly by as per usual. We check in on the final day as we learn that there's now more half bloods that have been welcomed to camp. They're still building the new cabins, and it's now time to say goodbye on the final day. So we learned that Rachel is just going to go like live a normal teen life with no boys at her, all girls school in California. But she'll be back next summer. She's like, oh, I hope it goes okay.
She's like, "Fingers crossed I don't say a prophecy during a math test."
Yeah, it's like, oh, you nerd. And we learned that Annabeth is going to be in New York City now because she gets to help build Olympus, so she'll be very close to Percy. And they have a moment where they go, I wonder when the next prophecy will happen, but it's not our concern right now. And they run off to catch the ride and come back again next summer.
That's how it ends.
That's all
Beautiful
right.
series.
Ah, so beautiful, so fun, so cute, so cool, so fun.
So cool.
That was the
So
last Olympian.
that was the last one. We're really sad. I think I say this all the time.
Yeah.
That was truly my favorite series that we've read.
Ah,
It was so
I love it.
innovative, and I think it just captures why young adult books can thrive and be so
Mhm.
good because he really just, I mean, puts so much information. It's so good. Anyways,
Ah,
I'm getting ahead of myself. We're gonna be talking next week in the wrap up, and I'm sure it's gonna be
yeah.
a long episode.
Yeah. There's too
Um,
much to discuss, so much to say.
Yes. And in the meantime, if you want to follow us, I'm trying to put stuff on YouTube. I'm trying my best. We're Meggie and Laura. And I mean, we haven't gotten an email in like a year.
Yeah,
So,
we're only getting emails from people whose books we're going to read on the show. So,
which we like,
email
but we
us,
also want fan
which we
mail.
also like. We love press, but like also like we love to hear from you in general.
Yeah. So if you want to email Meggie and Laura at gmail.com, it would make my day because I don't have a job. So,
Maggie needs this,
yeah,
so
I
do with
gotta
that what you will.
get the sympathy while I can. Okay. We'll see you next week.
Bye.